Hey, this is the Daily Overpass. My name is Eric and I make apps. Today let's ask the question, why is iTunesConnect so damn difficult? I was recently having a conversation with another developer and we were talking about the deployment of iOS apps, right? So he had said to me, he said, Eric, have you found iOS apps getting more and more difficult to deploy? And he was telling me about some of the problems he was having with just deploying apps that worked perfectly fine a few months ago, but with all the iOS 11 changes, they weren't getting accepted by the store. And I'm not talking about reviews. I'm talking about it doesn't even get to the in review stage because you get the email saying there's been a problem with the build you just uploaded, right? And I said yes. I was getting the same thing. So a couple months ago, I was having so much trouble with it, right? And in fact, just last week, I had one of my former clients who I was working with before. They had like another app, and they just wanted to do an archive and upload a new build, right? I think I don't know, maybe they were changing their screenshots or their keywords or something because you need a new binary, right? So they were just doing that, and they were just having so much trouble. They were struggling for like a couple days because they weren't getting information back that made any sense to them, right? So it was like they were getting the thing, and you may have had this where it says CF, I think it's CF bundle icon name is missing from the info.plist, right? So you upload it, everything seems to work, and then you get that email back, right? And I knew exactly what this was because I had the same issue with some of our legacy apps a few months ago, and I was pulling my hair out trying to figure out why, because for some reason they just changed everything, and they sent you a very cryptic email that says, it's missing this file, and then it's really, I'm sure to somebody it makes a lot of sense, but I found it difficult, and I had to go through and spend a little bit of time on Stack Overflow, reading responses and everything. But anyway, because I'd done it so many times, I was able to help them out, so that was fantastic, right? It used to bother me that the part of like if you buy a book on any kind of development technologies, if you buy a book on, especially mobile, if you buy it on Android or iOS, there's not very much in there about actually deploying an app. There's a lot about development, but there's no deployment. In fact, when I was hiring somebody before, I was asking a lot of questions on the deployment side because that actually shows that you've had that full experience from the development to the code. I mean, not just writing hello world apps and stuff like that, right? It used to bother me that the books just like they just glanced over the deployment. But I think one of the reasons is it changes so often. It seems like every year I get to this point where apps that were uploading before aren't uploading now, right? And it's actually fine when it's your own apps because you're just like, oh God, what now? You get that email, what's now? What's the problem? Now what is it they want? It's a little bit more embarrassing when you do it for clients, right? Because like if you're using their iTunes account and they get the emails too, right? And then you upload the builds, yeah, I'm uploading it now, whatever, and then they get the invalid binary, missing this from info.plist or missing this new, when they started using the photos, they started saying you had to put the reasons why you needed the camera access, all that kind of stuff, or access to documents. You had to add new stuff as you go. And it just changes all the time. In fact, it's like almost like deployment is like you have to go to school to learn how to deploy at some point, I think so. For some reason, and Google Play, I don't really have this much trouble with Google Play. Google Play is just easy. It's remained consistent even when they changed their interface around so much that you have to go digging through drop-down menus and everything to get to where you want to go. And you've got that whole phased release thing. It's still much easier than it is on the iTunes side. So if you're having trouble deploying an iPhone app, or an iOS app, I have that all the time, right? And once we get through this, over the next few months, I'm sure next, September, October, November of next year, we're going to go through the same thing again. They're going to change everything around. I don't know why, but it's just the way it is. Anyway, this is my thoughts today. Are you having trouble uploading to iOS? And don't just say iOS sucks, because that's an easy thing to say, right? But, which I don't think is necessarily true, but, I can't wait till Android takes over. Anyway, that's it for today. I will talk to you guys tomorrow.